So I wanted to make like a little breastfeeding series just to inspire anybody. I'll have one video where I go through and show what I used, and another video where I help with like supplements that I used. Not telling you to use this or that, but just sharing my story. The toddler, is asleep right now, so I just wanted to make a quick video. So, excuse me if I look kind of weird. I just woke up. Alright. For me, I knew that I wanted to breastfeed from like the very beginning. I was not breastfed, and I felt like that kind of, I just feel like a bonding type thing. And I do agree, fed is best, because it's not like from the beginning she latched on and I was able to breastfeed successfully. That's not what happened at all. So when she was born, she had jaundice, but they didn't know that until like a couple of days later. And it was more like, oh, you're lazy, or oh, you're not latching. That's the stuff that the nurses were saying to her, not to me. And I'm like, that's a good way to get knocked out. But anyway, they were like, let's try this hold, let's try that hold. And the lactation professional was not there. Like the breastfeeding consultant, she was not there. I think for anybody that wants to, I would say call and see, hey, is like before you go in, I get if you're having contractions and stuff, you might not have the strength to do that, but either you or someone you know, call in and see if they have a breastfeeding consultant or lactation consultant on call to help you, because the nurses are not really set up for that, in my opinion. But anyway, so the jaundice was one reason why she didn't really want to latch like that. They said that that was normal. So while there, they gave me a pump and everything. I did pump, but it didn't do that much. When I got home with her, I still wanted to breastfeed, and she wanted to be breastfed because she would like lay on my chest and her head would go like that with her mouth open. So I could tell she was trying to, after my research, it was like that's when they're, I think they call it rooting, or basically hunting to breastfeed. That's them letting you know they want to. So while we were at the hospital, she was getting donor milk. At first they were like, no, you're not a candidate for donor milk. And they wanted to give her Similac. I have my own views on Similac. So they were giving her donor milk. And I did have my pumps, and I was able to pump a little bit, but I still wanted the connection. I had my own Haka nipple covers, where that can help you if you have pain or the baby's not latching. And it did help. It really did. So like I said, I'll put that in another video. And if I can't find it, I'll at least put a picture of it. But yeah, I talk with my hands. I'm from Ohio, leave me alone. But anyway, one of the main things that helped if you are struggling with breastfeeding was rebirthing. That's kind of what they call it. And if the baby's not latching, or you haven't really been breastfeeding, for me, that was kind of like a turning point. So a couple of weeks after, when she didn't latch on, I was still pumping, and we did the rebirthing. So now we're almost at 1 month, and I got in a tub of water. They say it's good to have somebody in there with you to hand you the baby so you don't slip or anything. I got in a bathtub of water, and my mom handed the baby to me, and I put her on my chest. Like, you dip the baby back in the water and sway her kind of side to side, and then you lay her on your chest. And that was the first time where like she latched on, and it happened. And for me, I was happy because I just wanted that bond, and I wanted to know that, well, if I don't have milk right there, I can still feed her. This was like 2022, and I don't know if some of you remember, but at that point, it was hard to get milk, like certain types of milk. And at that point, I was doing supplementing with formula, so it was hard to get Infamil. And then I realized her system was kind of sensitive, so I had her on the Infamil, I guess like the easy version, and that was like the only one that she could really have. And I went like all out trying to purchase, like, there's one brand that's from Germany, I tried that one. There's a couple of different brands that are like goat milk based. None of those worked, and the one from Germany, it was expensive. Like I said, I'll put that in the video of the products. I don't have it anymore, but I really thought that was going to be the one that worked, and it did not. So the only one she could really take was the Infamil. It's in the purple container. But it was hard to get. It really was. Like, people were in the stores scrambling for it. I guess I felt like 2022 was a big baby boom. Even like around me, people I knew, it was like 5 of us pregnant all at the same time. So that's just people that I knew personally, not even counting people around just the United States. But I wanted to know that I could just, pop it out and feed her. So the rebirthing is my first tip. You can research it. I researched it, and that's what helped a lot. Also, I'm not a big water drinker, but if you want to do the pumping, even if you don't want to breastfeed, you can just pump. There is a way to get on a pumping schedule and just pump and put that milk away. I had to research that too, because in my family, breastfeeding wasn't a big thing. I think the few people that did it, it didn't go well. The other turning point for me was contacting a breastfeeding consultant, because I'm like, you know what? I think at this point it was like 2 months that I was still pumping, but I felt like something was still off with the breastfeeding. She still wasn't latching like she did the time after the rebirthing. And I tried different holds and everything. So this part, and I know a lot of people judge people that get WIC. At that point, I was able to get it because it's not just, sometimes people think it's just for people that are lazy or don't work. When you're on maternity leave, a lot of times at some point your income either stops or it goes down drastically, and you can apply for that to help you. And they have a breastfeeding consultant, so that's more why I did it. I'm like, I need help, and it was like almost my last straw. So I called, and she was like, I can come to your house. I'm like, wow, okay. Because you have a baby, at least for me, I didn't want to really take her out on the elements too much and have her in like a public place, or as they say, like a government-y type place. I just didn't. Anyway, the fact that she could come into the home, and I mean, this was quick. I think I called, excuse me, just woke up. I think I called on a Friday, and on a Tuesday, and she was there. She was there. I want to shout her out, but I don't know if she want to be put out like that. But she was amazing. We sat down. She's like, okay, I had the baby with me. She's like, show me how you breastfeed or try to breastfeed. And I showed her, and I was like, I take her in my arms like this and put her toward me. And I showed her like the football hold and then like the two holds that I was doing basically. And she was like, okay, you're doing it right. I know those are simple words, but for me, that was when everything changed, or I felt better, because nobody was like, okay, you're doing it right, or okay, you got it, or okay, everything's gonna be fine. Nobody told me that as far as the breastfeeding. It was just like, either you get it or you don't get it, and if you don't get it, then there's milk. So for her to tell me, like, okay, you're doing it right. Let me get tissue. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm sensitive sometimes. But for her to say that I was doing it right, it started things off on a good foot. And it's not like she was just saying it because she was like, she had like a lot. She had a good amount of children and she had breastfed them all. So I was like, okay. And another point that she made was, it's okay if the baby cries while you're putting them on. I felt like the worst person in the world at first, because she would start crying and she would go like this and start crying. She was going like this because she was trying to get the breastfeeding process. She was trying to get it going, so she was looking for it when she was shaking her head like that. And I'm saying that not to be gross, but I'm saying that to help anybody that maybe the baby's crying and going like that. They're trying to find you, and don't feel like you're hurting them just because they're crying. They're crying, maybe they're frustrated or something. So after she told me that, and then she showed me a couple other holds that I could do, but she was like, you're doing it right. So the way that I was doing it was just taking her head and holding her bottom part and putting her up against her. And YouTube is your friend. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know YouTube is your friend. TikTok wasn't popping at that point, so I don't know. But YouTube is your friend, because even the hold up, there was this one trick, and he's like, take the baby and match your breast up with their nose, and then gently go across their lips and put it in that way. Like, that helps them to open their mouth. That trick is amazing. That trick is just amazing, because otherwise I don't know how it was gonna go down. But that happened, and when she gave me the tools, and she's like, if you feel stressed or if you feel frustrated, just call me. And even if you're not the type of person to call, I'm not a caller really, but I would text her and she would still help. And even if I didn't text, like once a month, she would check in on me and be like, how's it going? Is everything okay? I'd send her pictures of the baby. It was just like your support system broadens. So don't be afraid to contact someone. And even if you don't have like the connection for WIC or whatever, I'm sure that the hospitals do have breastfeeding consultants. Call and see if you can get an appointment with one, or consultation, or however you call it. Just call and check and see, because it is worth it to you, to your baby. If breastfeeding is what you want to do, it is worth it. I did a lot of research. I think I might still have the playlist on my YouTube channel, so I might make that list public just so you can see everything that I was looking at for the process. But those are the 3 things that really helped, as far as the rebirthing, and then the breastfeeding consultant, and knowing a technique that would work for me. Those were big. And after that, it's not like everything was peas and carrots. I don't even like peas and carrots. Anyway, it's not like everything was great. It was still some tough times, but after that, I was a lot more relaxed. And when I became relaxed, she became relaxed. As far as like discomfort and stuff, I can talk about that in another video. There is a cream that I do suggest. The main one that's most popular, a lot of people, the one a lot of people like, it's not my thing, but I think the main one that I used was Mother's Love, but I'll go through that and look, because yeah, I did have some difficulty with that after the process began. But I felt like it was important to go ahead and put this out there, even though I did just wake up and it was a struggle for me. So I just want to tell anybody that might be struggling with it, it's okay. You got this. And you can create your own support system even if you don't have a big support system for the breastfeeding process. And when I say it like that, I'm not putting down anybody, because if you haven't done it, you haven't done it. And even some of the people that have done it, if what worked for them didn't work for you, it's just like, okay, well. So if you want someone that's not going to say, okay, well, I just suggest contacting like a breastfeeding consultant, or I mean, you can shout out to me. I'm not a professional, but as far as a professional side, find a breastfeeding consultant or a lactation specialist or someone like that. Take care.